Toyin, welcome to the concluding part of the series, Finding Peace, right? And today I'm going to be talking about mastering yourself, the body, the mind, the heart, the spirit. Okay? So we're going to dive deeper. Greetings to everyone joining from around the world. Let me know where you're joining from. And if you're team replay, do also say hello, drop your questions, drop your reactions, also share what really resonates with you. As usual, we're going to go very, very deep. Okay, we're going to really, really go deep because ultimately, okay, peace also exists in the depth of who we are. If we, so anyway, let me get started. I don't have notes today, so I'm just going to share what's on my mind, what's on my heart with you, and then based on interaction questions, I'll take the conversation in whatever direction people want to take it. So this is an opportunity to engage and ask questions as well. So when it comes to just in general finding peace, this is the third path of this series, and it's the concluding one, unless people say go deeper, but this depth would absolutely change your life. Okay, from a Christian standpoint, Jesus said, my peace I give to you, not as the world gives, right? My peace I give to you, my peace I live with you, not as the world gives. So applying that peace that Jesus gave us, listen, it's work, because default is like autopilot, and you are already people are already living in autopilot. When you do nothing, right? If you don't do what I'm about to share, you get the default programming, nature nurture culture, like they're running the show, unless you awaken, right? And you decide to take your power back, because that piece is based on how you apply God's word, how you program yourself or reprogram yourself, the decisions you're going to make, right? How you arrive at those decisions, they're the ones running the show. Make sure your own thoughts, okay, your own beliefs in a conscious way is what is running the show for you, because by default, you see, by default, you've already been programmed. You've been programmed. Everybody has been programmed. Since you were born as a baby, ABCD is a programming, 1, 2, 3 is a programming. Everything people have taught you, who to be, how to speak, how to exist, everything is a programming. And you follow all of that programming by default until or unless you decide that's not enough. That's ain't enough. Okay. So let's start with the body. I always go scientific, right? When I talk about the science, biology, physics, chemistry of us, and then I go deeply into spiritual psychology, how we need to think about who we are in our divine nature. And for the Christians, right, we talk about the Bible, the scriptures, right? It's all about spiritual psychology, how you comprehend reality through the lens of your spiritual side, right? There's a psychology that is governed by the flesh, what you can see, what you taste, what you touch, what you hear, what you smell can govern your conclusions about life. Oh, you don't have this. Oh, you don't have that. Pure psychology, fed by the five human senses, the physical senses, can influence what you feel and what you believe and what you think, how you think about life. That's a choice. Spiritual psychology is when you think, okay, from your higher self, the divine self, okay, how you think about your divine self, and when you choose to apply that over your life, when you choose to use God's word, who he said you are, the nature of God in you, right? The spirit of God in you. When you use that spiritual intelligence to run and govern your life, when you use that to override laws of nature, 3D laws, that's spiritual psychology. When you choose to think in an elevated way and to interpret life through that dimension, Because you can apply, you can interpret life by what's in your bank account, who you know, who you don't know, and conclude that that's all there is. Or you can start applying spiritual concepts, spiritual intelligence, and think of yourself, right, through the spiritual side. Okay? And the results you're going to get out of life would be influenced by pure psychology of the flesh or psychology of the spirit, because both sides, okay, have ideas about what's going on around you. You can interpret life by the flesh or the spirit. So I'll break it down. So let's start by the self, the flesh. Okay? Welcome, everybody. We're going deep. Listen, we're going deep. Greetings to you, and we've had new people join the YouTube community. Welcome. You're in for a treat. Pull up your chair. Tell your friends to pull up. We're going deep, life changing, life transforming. And for those who are members of my school, we have programs, classes, courses for manifestation, spiritual psychology, for business development, the business school side, right? The most robust training program for visionary entrepreneurs in the world. Join us at toyinumesiri.academy. My first name, last name academy. And if you don't know who I am, so because many people, we now have new people here. Call me Coach Toyin. I play different roles. I'm a TV host. I host world leaders. I teach business, right? I've done programs for United Nations. I train entrepreneurs from around the world. I'm a business strategist. I serve on boards, government boards, on and on and on. So I'm really seriously equipped to guide you on this journey. And in addition to all of those things, I'm also a minister, right? Faith-based minister. So I tend not to, in the past, I tend not to bring that. But by this time now, all of you need to know, Coach Toye can preach you, can preach you some preaching. Anyway, so let's have fun. As I was starting, I shared the concept of spiritual psychology is using spiritual intelligence to govern your life. Pure psychology is knowledge of the flesh. What you see, what you taste, what you touch, you can use that to run your life too. But you know what Bible says? It will tell you, bring your mind, bring everything, subject it to the spirit, because that's where spiritual psychology, spiritual intelligence, your divine nature, learning more of who you are, that's where peace lives in. That's why Jesus said, my peace I give to you, my peace I leave to you, not as the world, not as the external flesh gives to you. There's a higher realm of peace that I'm breaking down now. Okay. To go deeper, let's start with your body. I'm going to talk about the body, which is the third dimensional space, and it's governed by biology, your biology. You see, you are made up of millions and millions and millions of cells. Are we all in agreement? Bring your biology book back. Okay? Humans are living organism, the breath of God that says man became flesh. Spiritual psychology. Let's understand that the flesh side of you is made up of cells. Right? Cells organized. Organs are organization of cells grouped together to perform the function God says. Do this, do that, do that. So God organized cells. Do this for her, do this for him. Clean up. This one will do this. This one, right? It's a coordination of cells. In the biology world, in the physical world, you have single cell living organism. Our own, listen, we are divinely made. Our cell structure is still being studied. Okay, the cell structure of a man, of a woman, how God wired man to function at the cellular level is still a subject. People are still going through it. DNA, unraveling it, trying to understand what's different, right? What does this do? What does that do? Science is just unraveling, trying to understand. Science is just trying to understand God's design. I'm saying also, please understand that. Now, our biology in the third dimension, your physical self is made up of cells. Cells. And what do cells do? What do they need? They always crave energy. Human cells is the same. It's powered by energy, the battery source. And how do you primarily get energy? There are many ways you get energy. There's the food you eat. Yeah, you eat food, right? Again, I'm talking about mastery, self mastery, finding peace. Okay, these are your assignments. You feed yourself. You feed yourselves. You are responsible for the food you eat. I'm not talking to kids, I'm talking to mature people. Part of your responsibility is the energy you feed yourself, and there are many energy sources. Welcome. Welcome everybody. Pull up, take your pen and paper, get your water, tea, um, get comfortable. This is the kind of session you have to get comfortable. You see, get comfortable in your comfortable chair. Calm down. You're going to enjoy this and change your life. So, cells, you're made up of millions and millions of cells. And I'm saying living organisms crave energy source. One of the source of energy, primary source of energy for man is you eat every day. Every food you're eating, when you take it in, you also have an inbuilt digestive system, okay, that extracts different types of energy. And then whatever the waste is, you let it go. But also know the sun, vitamin D. There are some things in the climate and the environment in which you live in that God has designed and wired to also boost you, to give you some extra dose, right? The way organisms interact in an ecosystem. You see, ecosystem, we are part of an ecosystem. And the earthly bodies and heavenly bodies move and rotate, and they affect your living organism. When the sun, when the earth, okay, shifts, okay, its rotation has an effect. How do you know it's time to sleep? You're a living organism. The concept of rest, day, night, time to work, the energy you need to work, like you are coexisting in an ecosystem that affects you, right? The environment in which a living organism lives in, okay, will affect how safe that organism is, the well-being. So there are different sources of energy. Another source of energy, believe it or not, is other humans. It's like if you have two cars, one, the battery is dead, you can jumpstart the other. You can gain energy. Humans transfer energy among each other. Yeah? Because you are wired that your touch, your words can can give somebody a boost. You know, that car, the car that has battery, you connect it to the one that the battery is, right? And you start that car. Encouragement, motivation can feed you a life source that gets you jumping up, right? You're part of an ecosystem, you're part of a community. A community can be so good for you when they keep feeding you life. There's a life when you commune with other humans, like-minded, right? God said, man, it wasn't good for man to be alone. He saw it, that you need touch, you need other people, right? To boost your energy, to feel better for yourselves, right? If you look at the ecosystem, animal kingdom has this too. Go in pairs, group together, right? On and on. There are other energy sources. I'll get to it when I go into the fourth and fifth dimension. But the first thing you have to master is your physical self. How you are wired, your cycles, your rhythms of life. Okay. And you have the ability to optimize that. You can optimize what you're eating. You can optimize when you're sleeping. You can optimize where you are living. You can optimize where you're going. You can optimize who you're doing life with. You can say yes. You can say no. You can move. You can come back. God gives you the power to shift and turn and move and travel and adjust. You are not stuck in any dimension that is unwell for you. Your living organism, the cellular structure that you carry, the things you are experiencing, The environment you put yourself can give you peace. The people you talk to can give you peace, can give you calm, can hold you with love, dignity, and respect. They can talk nice things to you, make sure you're well. You're supposed to be craving that, running towards that, and also cultivating that for other people you're doing life with. You're supposed to receive it and you're supposed to learn how to give other people and collectively create an environment that everybody sleeps and eats in peace. I'm going somewhere. Come with me. And you need to share this with everybody you know. You're supposed to cultivate peace within yourself and give other people peace. Other people too are supposed to give you peace. And collectively, jointly create an environment. This is when we talk about culture. The concept of culture is, what do we believe? What are the rules of engagement when we do life together and community? Culture is built by agreements. This is the way we do things, and you believe this will give you peace. But trust me, people who don't understand this thing, some cultures have gone crazy. When I say crazy, I mean people have come to tolerate things that don't give peace. When humans gather together and do life together and do community together under any structure, business, religious, right? Anytime humans congregate energetically, trust me, the well-being of those people must be protected by leadership. Remember, this is where leadership comes in. The people who decide, right? The culture, what is acceptable, what is not. It's like a governing, God puts leadership as a governing center to put rules of engagement that secures the peace of everybody that does life together. So when leadership goes off, forgetting their assignment, they don't understand the assignments. That you're the type of leader you become is decided by the peace that the people under you are enjoying. So if the people under you are crying, you've created a toxic environment for them, because the human physiology, your physical self, needs to be put in conditions of well-being to support creativity, productivity, right? Human creativity, productivity is also governed by your ability to calm down and think to create. And so people cannot create, cannot produce at the heights of their potential when there is chaos, when cells are agitated, when the electrical charge exchanged, the words, vibrations exchanged by those people is not healthy. Families decompose, degrade, when constantly people are going at each other. That's not well-being. And I'm also saying well-being is not the default. You actually have to work really, really hard for you to be healthy and digestible for other people. And other people need to work really hard. Everybody has to value peace when you're doing community. People who don't value peace, they disturb themselves, they disturb other people. Energetically. The people who complain, you did this, you did that, it's too, that noise. Anyway, I'm going somewhere. Keep coming, keep following. Okay, so the cellular side of man, when people start not valuing emotions and feelings, because those are the indicator lights. It's your car giving you green, yellow, or orange. How well your cells are behaving, what they are experiencing at the cellular level. Okay, and then at the muscular level. So let's split this into two. Okay, self-mastery. You have to master your physical, right? You have to learn the things you have to do to make sure your physiology, your living, the living organism, your physical body, the food you eat, when you sleep, the things you process in yourself, right? The conditions of your physical self, the indicator, the two main indicators are emotions and feelings. You see how people are doing in their body, right? What you are experiencing in your body. The two main indicators is emotions and feelings. Emotions are governed by energy in motion. It's governed by the chemicals traveling within your blood, going to your cells, the receptors, what they are receiving, the type of chemicals they are eating up that is touching them, that they are experiencing. That's what governs emotions and their reactivity to those emotions, right? The reactivity of your cells, how your cells respond to hormones, emotions flowing in the bloodstream and being sent to your organs. That is what we label as emotions, reactivity. If those things are good for you, okay, if they are good for your cells will be happy. But hear me, the language of your cells is not English. Your mind has to be able to slow down enough to interpret the conditions of your body. And most people don't slow down enough to understand what their own cells are experiencing or trying to message, because the language of the human body still has to go for conversion. It's like the five senses. They sense things, you see things, you hear things. But remember that even when you hear things, it still has to be, when you hear sound, the message encoded traveling on the sound has to be interpreted for you to understand. And then when you want to speak, speaking is also an interpretation when you want to respond. Okay. Are you enjoying this so far? Okay. So your cells experiences reality, external realities and internal realities. What people do, say, right? What you experience here, your cells react and responds. And then also the chemicals flowing internally, okay, based on how they interpret things, the cells also experiences it. And that experience, right, you have to decide how you want to respond. So that's one side of your physiology. The other side is motion. What governs action and motion, mobility. How, you are a moving being, right? You take action. You are wired electrically, okay, to take action. Okay? So what governs action? Where you go, where your cells, remember, okay, you have cells, right, that experience. You also have the side of you that governs the action you're taking, the muscular system, okay, the muscular structure, the bone structure that holds you up, that holds all of you. They do things. Anytime you need to do things, hold things, go somewhere, move around, any movement, okay, that you have to make, that living side of you has to make, it's waiting for instruction on what it should do, and it is wired with electrical charge. Your nerves. Okay? Your nerves. You have electricity, okay, running through you. And where there's electricity, there's magnetism. And where there's magnetism, there's electricity. So the motion you make is based on attraction. And you are attracted to desire, the things that you desire. And then the things you don't desire, the things you like, the things you don't like. What governs motion is driven by like, dislike, attraction, go, repel. So you move forward, you move right, you move away, you move towards, you move away. Living organisms. Living organisms move close to safety, love, right? You feed on that. When you are not safe, when the living side of you doesn't feel safe, it pulls back. I'm breaking this thing down because, again, self-mastery. The feelings and emotions are indicators of what's going on. So when you feel, okay, what you're feeling, you're doing. What you're emoting, you're experiencing. So the natural side of you is governed by experiences and by mobility. What you do, what other people do to you, what you experience, and what other people experience that you're in community doing life with. I'm trying to break it down. Again, keep following me. And peace must be cultivated. Peace must be experienced, right? The peace you will experience in your natural, you experience it when this thing is calm. Right? Your car would move when you have full tank, gas tank full, your engine is cranking, working really well. You've just taken your car to the mechanic, oil has been changed, tires pumped up, gas filled up, engine cranking up, all things right. Your entire system is fully functional. You can drive your car. Everything is green lights. You see, you're feeling well. That's happy. Your happy state, your flow state, the natural state of man. You're happy, you're fulfilled. When your cells are well fed, you're living in the right condition, you're feeling fulfilled, you feel you can make progress, you can do whatever you want to do. Guess what? Happy state. That's the happy state. You're flowing. Nothing is stopping you, right? You're moving. Okay? That's where you need to get yourself to. That's the assignment, to bring yourself to an healthy state of being is your assignment. Now, let's go to fourth, because if that is all there is to a man, then this is what all living organisms experience. But there's a beautiful thing. This is what sets man apart from every other creation, is that God gives man a programming center to actually influence all of your experience. The command center, the back end is not right. Other living organisms, they were programmed by God to function a certain way and then closed up. Right? And so they perpetuate that behavior, right? If you study the fish, you study all these things, the fish cannot wake up one day and say, right? All living organisms walk within the realm that God allows them to function. All the earthly bodies, the sun, moon, stars that have been set in place, listen, they have coordinates. The earth's rotation rotate how many times, right? Everything, there's a rhythm to life that God has put in place. However, except for man, this is the most powerful thing men, right? Humans enjoy, is that the divine nature of God, after he has finished all of creation, he now handed man the same tools that he used to paint the universe, the same sound that he used to create the world, the same energy that influences creation. He said, you know what? Come and co-create with me. I've given you, I created you in my image. I want you to be performing, right? Representative of me here on earth. Be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it. Okay? And the tools you will use to do all of those things. Here you go. Free will. Do with these tools as you wish. The power to prosper, the power to become, the power to shift creation. God now said, I trust you. Here you go. The special programming, special tools by which you will use to paint reality and command third dimension. Here you go. Power, abilities. Gave it to man, including changing and rewiring your own cell structure. I've given you abilities to do whatever you want to do. This is the free will of man with what I have given you. And then end of life, you will give account. The free will to use power that God has given you however you want. Right? So, man is different because man can reprogram themselves through your decisions, actions, words, beliefs, thinking. Man is different from any other living creature because you have access to the back end by which you can program yourself, influence other people, and change reality. 3D. You can change reality. So let's go a little bit. I'll touch a little bit about that back end. We've talked about the front end. The front end is you're a living organism. You follow third dimensional rules. Cells, the millions of cells, listen, you must give them nutrition, feed them energy. Your mitochondria, every cell needs to be powered with the battery. Eat good food, You have to slow down sleep at night for cellular restoration. Okay. You have cells organized to give you mobility. You can move around. Your cells, your nerves, listen, they tell you, right? You move around, you do things. Okay. You experience things, on and on and on. You take in information, you give out the information. If that is all there is to a man, you're no different. Other living organisms follow those things. Your biology, right? Seeking energy, seekers of food, right? You are attracted. You move in the direction of food, safety, love, where you know you'll be taken care of, and then any cells that see danger move away. You move away from danger. You move towards food. That's the concept of living organism, biology. You don't go into fire, you'll be right. You right. That's the intelligence God has baked into a living organism that must continue to co-create and exist and perpetuate itself. That right? That won't go into extinction. Every living organism that is not going to go into extinction must protect its own order and its own kind. That's why I talked about culture. You start destroying your own environment, your own culture, the culture you will live in, you're destroying yourself. Because a living organism does not live outside of its own environment. So caring for your environment is part of your assignment. Every living organism, even a bird, will still build a nest and make sure it is safe for it to give birth to before the kids grow up and live. So every living organism must be wired to care for the environment they create energetically, so that everybody who live in that environment, they are well, emotionally well, right, rested, at peace. And part of also the structure of man is leaders are given more of those responsibilities to create that environment, to create the rules of engagement, and to protect law and order to create that collective unit. You are living in a world where many of the leaders are failing at that. The whole world is crying, grounding, wah, 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 because everybody has gone their own way. You're on your own. You are now on your own. Anyway, I'm going somewhere. Keep coming. I also said, but you don't have to take the default. This is the practice of your divine nature. You do not have to accept what you don't want to accept. You do not have to stay where you don't want to stay. You don't have to say yes when you mean to say no. This is the exercise of your power to choose what you want to experience. But many people don't exercise this power because they've also been cultured to tolerate nonsense. Because if you lose this divine identity and breaking, I want to break down to you. You get what you get. You get what you get. You experience, right? Because you are the one that's supposed to exercise, right? Dominion, authority, self agency, right? Independent thinker. This is for the mature. I'll get there. So, third dimension, follow third dimension rules, your biology, all of those things. However, the most divine nature, the one who awakens through spiritual psychology, that there is another side of you beyond 3D. There's this inner dimension where superior, there are more things happening in that realm. Now, if you're unconscious, you don't know who you are, you don't know your power, you've given it all away, you've been programmed to be powerless, you've been programmed to tolerate everything other people are doing, you've been programmed to be people pleasing, not pleasing your creator. People like that suffer in this life. You put yourself in an environment that doesn't care about your own well-being, but steals energy from you for their own needs, and you are left hanging with empty bag. Sheesh. It's because you haven't awakened spiritually. Because the divine side, the awakened side, okay, this is where spiritual psychology is different from pure psychology, is that the spiritual knowledge of your power, okay, not physical power, I'm talking about the nature of God in you, behaves differently. Right? Acts differently, reacts differently, responds differently to life. Not just as a living organism, but as a divine being. Your response to life, your conclusions about life, when it is governed by spiritual intelligence, you ascend to higher levels. But if it is governed by laws of, oh, the government is, oh, this, blah, blah, you blame everybody, and blaming does not change anything. Have you seen anybody respond to complain? No. If you want things to change, right? If you want better results, if you want to create the greatest version of you, it's not 3D. 3D is 3D, biology. It follows by biology, physiology, right? On and on. I'm saying God also gave man this power to speak, to think, to believe, to guide all of the things happening in the third dimension. Yesterday on my TV show, I shared um, the relationship between self-actualization, manifestation, and entrepreneurship. Many people struggle in entrepreneurship because the only version of you that can achieve success in entrepreneurship is going to be governed by your spiritual ascension, your self-actualization, and your ability to practice manifestation principles, the intentional creation, okay, of the outcomes you desire. Intentional is the key word, because there are unintentional consequences of people who have not self-actualized, okay, consciously or subconsciously, right? Unconsciously, subconsciously, consciously, you live out the life that you've been programmed for by default. And the default programming for people who don't grow and mature is that nature, nurture, and culture has already programmed you. Your DNA, your inherited DNA, there's programming in there. Okay? Nurturing, how you were nurtured to believe certain stories, there's programming there. Culture also has programmed you. And so nature, nurture, culture are the default programming that people use to run their life, who they told you to be, DNA, family, upbringing, foundation, and then the culture in which, the environment in which you grew up in, what you saw as acceptable. That is the default programming in your system. Your belief system will be governed by DNA, by nurturing, and by culture. That's it. That's the default. Train up a child in the way the child should grow. When the child is old, the child will not depart. That is it. But when you wake up and God starts talking to you, those three programming, I also have a divine nature programming that overrides, that is more superior than DNA, than nurturing, right? Than culture. Okay. And only spiritual psychology can help you access that programming. Make sense? Make sense? Are we going? I know I've packed the whole lot. Okay. Any thoughts so far? Let me cool down with my nice water. I see. Yeah, I know we have new people joining. Yeah, so we are live, definitely. Thank you for being here. Let's see. All the other stuff going on there. Okay? Okay, good, good, good. Drop your comments, drop your thoughts. I'll be happy to respond to it. Okay? So I've talked about third dimensional rules. Okay? At the 3D level, okay, you are living out a life based on existing programming. And you get the default. So even within the concept of peace, whatever they believe, the culture in which you're raised, whatever peace, let me just put this, whatever level of peace that they enjoy or they've manifested or created in the environment they created, that you were born into or you are living in, that's it. That's what you inherit. Now, there are fourth dimensional rules and fifth dimensional rule that is not included in how people are being trained in society. I don't know why, but this is where the power is. Okay, this is where all of your power lives in, is that in the fourth dimension. Okay, in the third dimension, I talked about emotions and feelings, living organisms, okay, motion, where you have to go, the things you have to do, okay, you're wired with electricity. Your muscles, your nerves, right? They contract your muscles. Those contractions create mobility, on and on and on. I also talked about your endocrine system. So there's the central nervous system that governs mobility, all of that. There's also your endocrine system that releases the chemical and the messaging that flows in the blood that goes into the organs. So as example, I like to, okay, so that people understand the practicality of this. How your organs and cells behave by default any day as automatic, the autonomic, right, nervous system. There's automatic functioning. However, if you choose to um do much more than you do, you want to exercise more, you want to run, you want to exert yourself, your cells has to prepare to do that for you, right? Your cells prepares itself to do what you want it to do. And so if it gets a signal that says, I want more, I want to exercise more, you want to exert yourself, the level of energy you're going to consume if you run, if you exercise, if you do more things, if you exercise yourself more, if you do something that you don't currently do, the level of energy that will be required to support that function will be greater. I'm saying even the cells need to know, right? Your muscles need to know you're about to run, and they will send an alert and messaging to all of the organs, the coordinating. There'll be a coordination among all of your cells to say, she's about to run. And then everybody say, give this organ more energy, boom, give that energy, boom. They prepare, okay, for the things you have to do. And so part of the coordinating center, how your cells speak to one another, they pass chemical messaging among one another through the bloodstream and through your nervous system to coordinate themselves to be able to serve your every need. Right? So there's the default. And the moment you want to get up from a couch and you want to go do something that would need more energy, they coordinate. They coordinate themselves. Right? Busy every day, doing things, instant out, right? God has designed you to, right, your body to serve you. Now, when you want to get more curious, how do they receive? Right? How do they know what it is you're about to do? Because these things happen so fast, you don't even think about it. Right? They always have antenna ready to do things for you automatically. It's like Alexa. Alexa, yes, I'm always on. What do you want? Turn on the light. Boom. Your cells are always listening, ready to do for you. But how? How do they know what to do? This is the power of thinking. This is the power of thinking. And there are many functions of the mind. I'm not going to go into all of it. I'll just, I just want you to be awakened, right? So that you can find peace. Thinking is what, right? Part of thinking is how you alert yourselves what they're about to do and what's coming. What's going to happen? What's coming? What they're about to do? Where you're going? What other people are doing? You are so responsible for doing all the thinking for yourselves. They just take everything you say you want and they just flood your entire physical being, your bloodstream. They just like it's receive and then flood because they make assumptions that your thinking is clear, that your believing is healthy, that your manifestation will be positive, will favor your cells. Your cells ought to trust you that you're putting them, that you're making decisions and you're giving them instructions that makes you well. That's why what you choose to eat, when you choose, why the decisions you're making creates the environment and condition in which your cells and organs will live in. And so you need wisdom. Wisdom comes out of spiritual psychology, human intelligence, what you read in books. But God will say, anybody lacking wisdom, ask him. Part of the wisdom we all need, right? Everybody needs. is how to program yourself. And for Christians, part of the wisdom center is the Bible. Right? Is that you're supposed to think, you're supposed to adjust, rewire your own programming, right? You're supposed to think a certain way that will give you peace. Because there are also other sources of universal intelligence. Not every, it's like food. Not every food put in front of you is good for you. You're not supposed to be eating everything. You're supposed to learn what food is good, what food is not good. And you're supposed to choose to put in your system the ones you believe is good for you. There is a universal intelligence, right? Collective knowledge base. People are supposed to be very wise, very, very careful what they are touching with their energy, the information they are ingesting, the information they are bringing into their system, because that stuff can make you well or bad or not well. It can make you well or not. So in the fourth dimension, the principles is information and vibration. How your energy will vibrate will be determined by the sound you incorporate into your being, because the energy vibrates. But the frequency in which you are vibrating will determine whether what you are ingesting, the information you are processing through thinking and your mind, whether it's well for you or not, how you're vibrating. Right? And that vibration correlates to feelings in the natural realm. So the energy you are experiencing in the fourth dimension, the vibration, okay, the interpretation of that vibration is thinking, the experience of that vibration is feeling and emotions. So what is happening in the fourth dimension, your metaphysical side, the information, okay, in the thinking center, and the vibration in your heart, right? How you are vibrating in the third D will be experienced as emotions and feelings. You will feel your vibrations energetically, and then you will experience your thoughts emotionally. I'm not going to go too much teaching. I just want to raise awareness that people need to awaken. These things are mapped. This is the back end programming. You feel your vibrations, you emote your thoughts. You feel your vibrations, you emote your thoughts. This is the mapping of 4th to 3rd dimension. Your cells will experience, okay, your thoughts, okay, and your muscles and nerves will feel your vibrations. Now, your vibrations as an encoding where to convert your vibrations into words and meaning. This is what we call belief system. Belief systems vibrate. Okay? And thoughts create. Belief system vibrates, thoughts create. Okay. Let me also quickly share something, then I'll wrap up today's session. Let's just run through a programming series of how you go from 5th dimension, 4th dimension, then what governs what you experience and see in 3rd dimension. So think of I want, I desire, I believe, I think, I do, I receive, I get. Write that down. I want is just information. I desire is information plus activation. When you are ready to pursue, this is what's happening in the spiritual side. It can be automatic, but I'm saying be more intentional, right? Because clarity and focus will help you choose and manifest what you want. So many people may say they will know what they want, but if they don't run through this cycle, they stay at that entry point, and then the physical does not manifest. Because when you go through this cycle, your want is supposed to manifest as a physical reality. When people's wants don't show up physically, trace it back. I want must be activated when you're ready to pursue, to go get what you want as a spiritual being. Okay? The metaphysical side of you, where nobody sees, your inner dreams, hopes, dreams, aspirations, the things that you want, you have to awaken them. You have to awaken your heart, mind, body to give you what you want. Anybody that doesn't activate those three things, you want something, but you don't get it in the physical. Oh, this, oh, I'm saying exercising your power. Part of finding peace is understanding that when you want something and you want to get it physically, there's a journey it has to go on, and you are responsible for that. Anybody that doesn't wake up to do that will continue to say, but I want this, right? So I want must be activated. You must pursue what you want. This is the activation. Desire is when want is activated. Many people want things, but they've not activated desire. They are not willing to spend energy to pursue it. They're not ready to spend time, to allocate time to go get it. They're not ready to give resources to help manifest it in the physical realm, because it doesn't manifest until you spend energy, until you think, until you process. This is how you bring in the forces to make you happy. Okay. I want, wake it up, it becomes a desire. This is when your heart wakes up to receive and release the energy to go get it. Now, when the your heart, okay, because desire lives in the heart, vibration. Now, there's still more work to do, because now that you desire, you're hungry for something. Hunger. You long. You long for it. You may say you want it, but longing for it is it's where you start activating attraction, manifestation. Anybody that doesn't activate, right, vibrate that stuff inside them, you are not magnetic. You are not attracting. You are not creating. You are not manifesting. You can say what you want, but life will give it to you once you start activating desire and then belief. This is you. It's like starting your car. You can have a car, but are you going somewhere? If you're not going somewhere, the car is still parked. You can tell me, oh, I want to go to the, I want to go. Okay, but if you want to go to really get the roadmap. You have a car, start your car. Desire is how you start your car, and then you are ready to go. Belief is when you believe, you know that you can get there. Once you know you can get there, you'll be vibrating more. This is when you keep feeding energy, keep feeding. Like you tell your mind, figure it out by all means necessary. But here's the key. Desire has it's like currency. Energy is a currency. Some people say, oh, I want a girlfriend, but they're not, they ration how much energy they want to go in pursuit. Some people will say, I'm only ready to spend a day. If this thing takes more than 2 days, don't worry, we'll move on to something else. Some people ration their desire. So they start, they don't finish. They give up. The way you don't give up is you must keep your desires alive, and you must keep feeding it. You must keep feeding it, because the currency, okay, how much energy is going to take for manifestation, the time, energy, resources that thing is going to take. Every desire has its own cost. You want to have a baby, the energy the length of time you will eat food, the type of food you will eat, the length of the labor, of the waiting, of the process to go from zero to full manifestation. Everything in the world follows their own um rules. Manifestation of wealth, sowing and reaping, depending on what you sow, farming, the time it will take, germination, all of those things, for that type of seed to become a tree and to yield its fruits. Embedded in that seed is that information. So embedded in everything you want to manifest, the journey, the timing, the seasons, who you need to become, everything has their own rules. Your job is to learn those rules. You want to attract another woman to be part of your life and your journey. Every woman has their own cost. Every woman has will give you the information of what it's going to take for them to say yes to you. And if you are not ready to pay all the price, you lose it. I'm just trying to help people understand. If you're not ready to give it everything it takes, many people want to name their price. They don't understand. Listen, it costs what it costs. Your decision is to say, are you ready to give it all it costs? Not, oh, I'm only willing to take you out for dinner one time. I'm not, right? But if the girl says, hey, every day, call me, text me, do this, I want you to make sure you spend this energy on me. I will only give myself to another man that spends this kind of energy on me. I'm just using this as an example. Businesses is the same. Everything that consumes energy in the world is the same. You want to build a house. If all you're ready to do is spend this much, then you can only get this much. Those who want to build skyscraper, they're ready to go all in. Those who want to build a story, two-story building, this is all. This is where capacity comes in. So I want, I desire, I believe. What of capacity? This is when the mind is trying to calculate the cost of giving you what you want. And many people don't give, right, the knowledge, intelligence, relation. They don't build all of the things that is required to become who they need to become. And so the physical is still waiting. All of these things I've said, it hasn't gotten to the physical. Because the mind is the interface between the spiritual and the physical. When the mind is ready to pass information, because what it wants to pass to the physical self is information and instruction, the messaging coming from your desires, coming from the spiritual side of you. The mind will still make sure it arranges that information in such a way that the body knows what to do and how to go and get it. This is when we start talking about how to. And it's your job to feed your mind direct, clear instruction. Clarity is required for full-on manifestation. Confusion of the right. If you confuse your mind, your body, these are the dysregulated emotions. Whenever you see things happening in the physical realm, track it back. It's either you don't have clarity, it's either you've not quieted yourself, it's either you've not done the spiritual psychology side of these things to make sure when information manifests in the physical realm, nervous system and endocrine system, the information chemical messaging they're right, they're sending, and then the electrical charge that your body's wired with. Those two things, okay? The key is you can determine. You have the power, right? This is when you exercise your divine, your spiritual power. If you don't ascend, you can't do this because these things are powerful, right? Anyway, I'm going to wrap up now because if you have more appetites, you want to self mastery, wealth creation, to govern yourself, to go from, right, being a subject of your emotion to being the master, to master yourself and to get to coordinate the internal function so that you are moving forward with progress. So, yeah, right? Join us at toyinumesibi.academy. Okay? I'm wrapping up on the time. I'm giving an hour to this. I'm wrapping up on the time. Access classes courses at toyinumesibi.academy. Thank you so much for joining.